Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the Pub in LJ is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East LJ. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The Pub in LJ, where every visit feels like home. You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
It is a Winging It Wednesday here inside our Keurig Kia studios. Thanks for joining us for the Morning Rant right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Dave Garner with you right here inside our studios with Big John Davis joining us here in person, live in the flesh, rocking the tech polo. Man, you're looking good this morning.
Thank you so much. Glad to be in studio.
There we go, man. It's a nice change of pace right there. Of course, love having you here. You and I are going to be on the road together. Neither one of us are going to be in studio on Friday. Our man Aaron Childers will probably be here. But you and I are going to be on the road at Bradley's Bar and Grill on Friday for a special 3-hour edition of the Friday Happy Hour presented by your friends at Bradley's Bar and Grill. Looking forward to a big event, the Bradley's Brunch and Lunch. Again, some charity giveaways, some different things going on there as well. And looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, we got some Braves tickets we're going to be giving away, 50-cent wings, bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys, and one of the best lunch menus around East Cobb.
We may have to hang out a little later than 1 o'clock because, I'm not going to do any of that stuff while we're on the air. Exactly. But maybe afterwards. Now, I can't make any promises.
No, it's hey, he has a great crowd in there, and we're just looking forward to everybody coming in. He's excited. He just got off a vacation, and John's a great guy. He knows everybody there. He, it's your favorite little hometown bar that's right in the area, and it's a lot of great people that come in there, and we're looking forward to it.
There we go. We got a busy show, a busy 60 minutes here over this next hour. Again, our Winging It Wednesday brought to you by your friends at the Pub in LJ. Again, if you're up towards the North Georgia area in the mountains, swing by the Pub in LJ right off of Maddox Drive. $1 wings all day until midnight tonight. Again, our Winging It Wednesday edition of the Morning Rant. Of course, last Wednesday we were there in person. We were live at the Pub. We had a couple of different live appearances last week. We were at Ronnie Thompson Ford on Friday. Hopefully we'll be able to get back there, and a couple of other big events coming up over the next few weeks that we'll talk about, but certainly looking forward to that big event on Friday. Hey, later in the show, again, we're always heading down memory lane with Big John Davis, so we'll do that, of course. We'll have our Now That's What I'm Talking About segment, and chopping up over the next 60 minutes, NHL playoffs. Again, the Sabres able to even the series last night. I know that brought a big smile to your face.
Yeah, I tell you what, at the beginning, the first two periods, really, they looked kind of lethargic and sluggish and everything, but they got a great, a lot of it's luck as well, but the goal that they got that bounced off the wall and then bounced off the goalie's back and went in to give them a 3-2 lead. Hey, sometimes most times it happens against the Sabres, but this time it went for us.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky and good, if you have to be. And so, you do what you can there. Again, the Canadiens, certainly a formidable opponent, look good and the other night in that third game, I guess. But the Sabres able to bounce back last night despite some officiating and some other things.
I tell you what, I was talking to my boys Jim and Mark up in Buffalo. We were texting back and forth, and I cannot believe the terrible officiating that I was texting them saying, guys, did that really happen? Because I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm 100% knowledgeable in hockey, and they're just like, this is a joke. And then we found out that 3 of the refs were Canadian, and the other ref was French. And then on top of that, the announcers, it had to be the home team announcers, because they were just like, I think it was Dolan that busted his lip, and they're like, look, he's trying to open up his lip, like he got hit with a stick. Yeah. And they're like, look, he's trying to open up his lip to make it look like it's bleeding. And it's like, are you kidding me? And it was just like, you know, we tied it up. It gives us a little hope. We get to go back home and, you know, and regrouped. I thought the goaltender played very well, you know, but it's just one of those. I think if they're at the point now, as you would imagine being in the playoffs, you got to start off fast, you know, and they did the first couple of games, and then the third game they got the first goal of the game, but you just got to start off fast, and it didn't look like, to me, that they matched intensity with Montreal. Right. I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Montreal's probably the better team because they've had that playoff experience. Sure. Buffalo's, it's been, I forget, 14, 15 years since they've even made it to the second round. And so maybe they get the jitters out, and they know they got the confidence from last night. They do know that it takes a little bit of luck to get to get a goal whenever it happens. And but the defense, the last 10 minutes was like just superb, and they just they matched the intensity of the last 10 minutes that they should have had the whole game. So we're excited. We get to live for another day, and or have a little bit more confidence heading into Thursday.
Yeah, there you go. Again, all tied up 2-2 right there. Again, the NHL playoffs, and you know, a couple of the other series still going on as well. Of course, Avalanche up 3-1 now on the Wild, as we talked about yesterday. The Golden Knights got a win last night, so they're up 3-2 in that series. Carolina, as we talked about already, up 4-0 in their series. NBA last night, it was the Spurs beating the T-Wolves, so now they're up 3-2 in that series. Knicks, again, already in the clubhouse along with OKC, and essentially the Pistons-Cavs are in a best-of-3 moving forward now with that series tied 2 apiece. I believe they're going at it again tonight. So, again, a lot of things going on as we keep our eye on the NHL and NBA playoffs. Hey, tell us what you think right here. The Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open with my man Big John Davis in here on a Winging It Wednesday. 866-888-0744. Again, that's 866-888-0744. Braves getting a big dub last night, 5-2, getting it done there. You know, it was kind of a weird game for Grant Holmes. I mean, you look at the box score and you think, okay, only 2 earned runs, but he only went 4 innings. He didn't have a lot of control last night. Right. He walked a lot of guys, got in a little bit of trouble right there, so that was kind of led to the early exit for him, but nonetheless the bullpen came through.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier, you see him coming in there, and I was able to watch the first part of it. I was turning it back from the Sabres game, and I think he had that one bad inning. I think he walked 3, and I think it was a sac fly or something, or maybe a ground out or something that got 1 in and then a home run. But yeah, you look at it and he was like, wow, this guy's all over the place. But in actuality, he pitched pretty good, you know. And then, but you know, we've talked about it to where sometimes you're only going to get 4 innings, you know, and maybe 3 innings out of these guys, and you hope to get 5 or 6. But wow, the 3 relievers that came in held the Cubs hitless, and you know, it's like we always talk about, Dave. It's a team effort. Everybody doing their job. The Braves got 11 hits. They got 2 home runs. It looks like the batting averages of these players that we expect to be up there, it looks like they're rising, and they just keep putting a little bit of distance. The more distance you can get in, now you're looking at really, you're at the point of the season, I think personally, you're at the point of the season to where now you're looking at how much space can we put between us and the other teams with the All-Star break looming around. Now everybody's like, well, that's 2 months away. Well, you know, hey, nobody thought we'd be May 13th.
I was going to say, we're already 2 months in.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it flies by, and they keep doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. To some people, it might be boring. To me, it's called winning. Yeah, you know, and I watched the post-game conference, and Walt Weiss, was just calm and cool, and you take things as they come, and the only thing that I regretted about last night, and I did not get to see it, was that they said that the tribute to Ted Turner and Bobby Cox was phenomenal at the beginning of the game, and I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
Well, one of our morning show guys over on our sister station was at the game last night and said it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, they had the big, pictures. They brought out the 95 World Series trophy on the field. They did a big tribute for Ted Turner and Bobby Cox last night. And the Braves, of course, will wear number 6 on the back of their caps for the rest of the year. So a lot of tributes, I'm sure, that will continue throughout the course of the season, as it's been kind of a tough week, for the Braves last week, certainly losing Ted Turner and Bobby Cox essentially in the same week.
And I think you'll see across the league, you'll see people honoring Bobby Cox as well. Ted was the owner, and of course he gave up those duties in the 90s and stuff when he sold the team off. But Bobby had an influence over the whole league, and I did not know this. We talked about it, I think, on Friday, is that Bobby was ejected from 158 regular season games and 4 postseason games that made a true season, 162 games. And but the thing that we keep going back and talk about, the players and the pitchers and all of that, is that they never had a doubt that Bobby always had his back. Jeff Francoeur had a story last night saying he got ejected, and then Bobby came right out and got ejected, and Jeff's like, well, Coach, what do I do? And he's like, go get in the cold tub and have a few cold ones. And
he had never been ejected, so he didn't know what to do.
He didn't know what to do. So, but and we did talk about it earlier. I said it amazes me how much one person can impact not only a team and organization, but he was at Toronto, and then I also you see the umpires that are coming out and just saying, hey, we loved him. He was a formidable opponent, and it's like we said before, it's a life well lived. I know the last few years were a little bit hard on him, and but he made a huge impact on Major League Baseball, and I think on the state of Georgia, because he really brought the state together. 14 straight division championships. That's unheard of, and he's definitely going to be missed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Right there, Braves playing well in the tribute game last night. To your point, the guys that we need hitting, Austin Riley comes through with another home run last night. Yes, puts one in the chop house, man, of all things. So, as much as we talk about his playing time kind of diminishing a little bit with Mauricio Dubon primarily taking over in left field, we did see Yaz put one out last night, so that was nice to see. A good combined effort by the bullpen last night as the Braves take game 1 of the series with the Cubs 5-2. They'll go at it again tonight, and the Cubs, again, really one of the hottest teams in baseball. Right. I mean, they're nipping at the Braves' heels for the best record in all of baseball, just a game or two behind her. They were going in last night. So, a big series, a lot of early season tests. You took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, and now you win game 1 against the Cubs. Hopefully you can win at least one more, if not go all the way in that series. But definitely a good start, certainly.
Well, and you go back to Seattle, and I think the mark of a good team, a mature team, is okay, you dropped the series against Seattle. Well, what are you going to do right afterwards? And what did they do? They went and they beat the Dodgers.
They responded,
and they responded very well. And then, of course, last night they get the first win. And so a lot of it depends on when you look at these teams. A lot of it depends on how are you going to respond.
Yeah.
You might have. I've been in instances where we've had games and it's like we're not even going to watch the film on Monday.
Right.
But how are you going to respond to? We're going to have to now. You get your butt kicked at home. Yeah. Now we're going to say New England or Pittsburgh or somewhere like that. Well, how are you going to respond? Right. And so you got to forget about Sunday. You got to forget about the game before. And what are we going to do moving forward? And that the mark of a mature, good team is you put it behind you and you move forward.
There we go. Hopefully the Braves can keep it rolling right here. Foot on the gas as the Braves continue to get it done. Hey, we're up against our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some NFL news. Again, the schedule release and all the international games made public. We'll talk about that and a bunch of other things coming up here in this program. Again, Texas, Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open at 866-888-0744. We'll be right back right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. This is the Morning Rant on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Big opinions of the big games from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY The Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
Back here on a Winging It Wednesday, presented by your friends at the Pub in LJ. $1 wings all day long till midnight tonight. Get on up to LJ. If you're not anywhere around there, you might want to be, because they've got some really good wings as well. And they'll be open late tonight. So we appreciate you guys being on with us. Appreciate our friends at the Pub in LJ around here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. We're the Morning Rant on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Hey, just a shout out about our social media. Go on there. Check it out. Sports Pig on Facebook as always. Our show, the Morning Rant, with clips on Instagram. Also full video episodes on YouTube. The podcast version of the show is also available on our website, downloaded or uploaded daily. Hopefully you'll download it daily on sportspigradio.com. And wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast, we're everywhere, folks. Man, we're on Spotify. We're on Podbean. You name it. Interact with us on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65. And once again, this is a Winging It Wednesday edition of the Morning Rant. John, we were talking about NFL news there just a moment ago. The schedule for the international games has been released. You and I were talking about it. I thought originally the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they are doing some renovations to Everbank Stadium, I guess. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. But anyway, they are going to play at a reduced capacity at home. There was some talk about moving some of their games to Orlando and some different places, but it looks like they will stay home and just kind of work around around the construction, I guess, a little bit there. But nonetheless, once again, the Jaguars, a team playing a couple of those international games back to back like they did last season.
Yeah, the same as last year. Like I said earlier, we've got 9 international games. Obviously, you know how I feel about that. Thankfully, the Bills will not be going across the pond.
I noticed that,
which I would think that they're thankful about that too. I'm going to dig into it a little bit, but I want to see how much the NFL is paying these teams to do this, right? Because I can't imagine they're doing it for free simply because they're losing a home game. They might be, and it might be an away game, but whoever the away game is, that team's losing a home game. So there's got to be some money switching hands.
There's got to be some revenue going on in there.
But I think they've got 3 or 4 straight games in London, and then going to Germany, going to right here, Spain. I think they've got
Madrid.
A game.
The Falcons are going to Madrid.
Yeah, and then you got Mexico City, obviously, I believe, and it's they're pushing it, and I don't know. Again, I'm not a fan of it, but I guess they're going to push it as far as they can, and it wouldn't surprise me, Dave, if they come out in 5-10 years. Maybe I won't be here, but to see if they try to make it a world league, and I just don't think it would work. I don't think a lot of people thinks it would work, but there again, as it's like the theme of our shows from the very beginning. It's all about the money,
right? Yeah, exactly. Must be the money.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, could you imagine being a player in your day, John, and having to travel to Melbourne, Australia? I mean, because that's what's happening in week 1. The 49ers and the Rams are going to Australia. So add them into the mix, but that's a whole nother, they're a whole day different, basically, not just a couple of time zones. You know?
And it'll be amazing. It wouldn't surprise me if they go over for 2 weeks and they'll, because what they do in the preseason games is they usually get together and have scrimmages and practice against against each other. It wouldn't surprise me if they go over 2 weeks earlier to get acclimated. They'll have some controlled scrimmages with them, and then, which I don't think they would really want to have, because usually your controlled scrimmages are usually against a non-opponent, in your division. But you go over there and you've got these two opponents that are division rivalries, and it's going to be how much practicing they're going to do against each other, because once the season starts, the wins and losses, how much do you want to give away? Exactly. How much information do you want to give away? So I look at it a couple of different ways. They could go over 5 days early. They could go over 2 weeks early. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're concentrating right now with the physio science or whatever of the hydration part of it, the food part of it, the sleep part of it,
right? Yeah, just the routine,
the training, the routine, and all of that. So I would almost bet 95% of the players are just not happy of having to do that.
Absolutely. Again, Melbourne, Australia in week 1. Week 3, the Ravens Cowboys in Brazil. Then you start your string of London games in week 4. Again, week 4, 5, and 6 over in London. And then Paris this year, the Steelers and Saints, the Falcons and Bengals in week 9 over in Madrid. Patriots, Lions in Munich, Germany, as the NFL goes back to Germany again this year. And as you mentioned, Mexico City as well, with the Niners and Vikings late in the season in week 11. So, again, a lot of travel throughout the season for a lot of teams as the international schedule's released. And I think all of the schedules are officially going to be released tomorrow, I believe, is the official NFL schedule release. I mean, no other league in the world, love it or hate it, can make a primetime event out of just releasing their schedule, much like they do with the NFL draft.
Exactly. So, well, and the first Monday night game is going to be, you would think it'd be a good one with the Chiefs and Broncos. And then the first Thursday night game, the Bills are going to open up their new Highmark Stadium right next door to the old Rich Stadium with, or we call it the Ralph. Playing against the Lions, and then obviously we just talked about the 9 international games, but I read an article last night, and it's kind of switching from the schedules of everything about the grass and the AstroTurf, the pros and cons of it. Now, remember back when I played, if we've got enough time, back when I played, the turf was horrible. The AstroTurf was horrible. I remember playing down at the Saints, and it was basically a quarter of an inch, if even that big, of carpet laid on top of concrete.
It wasn't a lot of foam padding or anything.
A lot of foam padding,
rubber, or sand.
and you go to Pittsburgh, you go to Philadelphia, and where the bases are, because that's when the baseball stadiums used to be there. You go to the baseball stadiums, and the first, second, and third, and the pitcher's mound, they would literally have metal plates over the bases with about an inch gap in between the turf and everything.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a blowout knee ready to happen.
I was going to say,
you go to Miami or you go to Cleveland, and 90% of the field's sand, sand and dirt with the baseball fields and stuff. And, back then it was kind of fun, but today it's like it's insane to think that we're at a point to where we can't get a good field to play on. So what they've done is they came out quickly and they said 92% of the players want the grass. Apparently, they've been in some of the stadiums where the World Cup soccer is coming, and they've been on those fields, and they're like, why can't we play on this? Well, why can't we? And instead of you bring turf in for the Super Bowl 2 weeks before, well, as well as I do, that turf doesn't have any time to settle. And they can mash it down or press it down as much as they want, and it doesn't. But they're saying now that the injuries are rising on the grass, and that's the reason why. They go in and say, okay, well, the Panthers play at the Steelers Stadium. There's several of the stadiums that have grass that the other teams are playing on. And so you'll go in on Sunday and say, okay, well, they completely changed, a 40-foot by 40-foot swab of grass and just put turf down. we all know that that's not going to take in a matter of days.
Right, yeah,
and so that's where that turf slips.
Yeah.
It's injuries waiting to happen, and that's what's happening. They are seeing a rise in injuries on the grass, and the AstroTurf actually is getting better.
Yeah.
But it's the whole feel of it, and they came out with a point in saying, you got to stand out there for about 4 hours a day anyway, and they were just like, I would much rather be on grass. You know, if the injuries rise, they rise, but there's no reason why we can't have a grass system to where it is like the World Cup.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, put Pittsburgh Panthers somewhere else. Put some of these college teams somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
And because, again, Dave, it goes back to the money. It goes back to players getting hurt, and that affects the betting line. I hate to bring it up, but there's so many other factors involved.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of these stadiums are used as multi-purpose venues. You talked about as well with concerts and things like that. So.
We just found out down at Georgia Tech that's their second biggest revenue of the year is that they had Bruno Mars, and so what are you going to do? You just got to make sure you take care of it, and prep it and everything. But it's become multi-use now, so it's anything to bring money in, and that's unfortunately that's where we've gone.
But I think there's a way to do it. Obviously, I mean, you talked about the new Highmark, by the way, is natural grass. It'll be grass. And it'll be there year round, but there's so much technology out there right now, and I think you look at Arizona, the way they roll the carpet, they roll the turf out to water it and get it sun, and then they bring it in on game days. All these multi-billion-dollar stadiums they're building, but it seems like, and I think I read somewhere where during the World Cup, Mercedes-Benz is going to have natural turf, but maybe some lamp like different lights, installing some like grow lights inside the stadium so that the turf will be able to grow and not die off and live. So, with the technology being where it is today, even if you're an indoor stadium, theoretically, you should be able to grow real grass with the lighting and all the different things that they're putting in place.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So, a lot of fun right there, again, as we talk about it. In NFL, earlier is NHL and NBA as well. But again, the international schedule being released for the season. And again, tomorrow night, the official schedule releases for all the teams there as well, and of course we talked about the grass and some of the injuries and things as well. When we come back, coming up in the next segment, we'll touch on the PGA Championship this weekend, and we'll revisit some football news and notes as well right here on this Winging It Wednesday edition of the Morning Rant with my man Big John Davis. Again, I'm Dave Garner, in with you till 11 o'clock this morning. Chuck Oliver, the king of college football, taking over at 11 with Southern Sports today. Keep it locked right here. Still plenty more ahead in this final half hour right here on the Morning Rant on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia, on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for flag-to-flag coverage of NASCAR. We bring the heat, you bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
Back here on a Winging It Wednesday with my man Big John Davis in studio here inside our Curich Kia studios this morning, enjoying a gorgeous midweek day here in North Georgia. Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock. What's up, North Georgia? Appreciate you guys being with us right here on the Morning Rant. We were talking a little bit yesterday, and real quick, kudos to several of our area high school baseball teams that will be taking part in the Final Four series starting tomorrow. Again, Pickens and Calhoun, North Cobb Christian, Etowah, North Paulding, you name it. There's a big list of teams. Pope and Kell out of East Cobb will be there as well, playing Cartersville, of course, taking on Kell. So, again, the Canes back in it. And we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow during our high school roundup that we call the Prep Rally with my man, Will Cooper, the Golden Boy, who's plugged into high school sports in Georgia. We'll talk a little bit more about the Final Four. But big shout out there to all of our area high schools that are taking part in Final Four baseball this weekend. State championships next weekend, right up against graduation for a lot of our area schools. So it's a busy time here right at the end of the school year.
It'd be nice to see all these teams, the local teams, go out on a big note before graduation. I know it's an exciting time for them, and wish them nothing but the best.
There we go. Absolutely. Going to talk PGA in a moment, but first, the Preakness, man. We go back to horse racing this weekend. Again, we had the Derby 2 weeks ago. You got the Preakness this weekend, and then in 2 weeks, the Belmont Stakes. But no Triple Crown chance this year with Golden Tempo scratching for the Preakness right there. But nonetheless, I know a lot of eyeballs will be on it, especially for all you horse race fans out there.
Yeah, my good friend and teammate Damian Burke, I texted him last night, and I was like, explain to me again how you made the bet.
Yeah,
and he actually won some money last week with the Kentucky Derby, but it's called the Exacta Box. And so what you do is you go and you pick your 4 horses, and the way they come in, how they come in, I guess according to odds, I'm not exactly for sure. He explained it a little bit to me, but he had the number 1 and the number 2 horse picked right, and so it went. It worked out well for him. So instead of just going out and picking 2 or 3 horses that win places show like we did for the Kentucky Derby, I thought we'd do the Exacta Box, which is you pick your 4 horses. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you how you win. I'm just going to, we'll find out at 7:00 on Saturday night. But Damian's his system was pick 2 big favorites and then pick 2 not big favorites.
There you go.
Because you're always going to have somebody that's going to surprise you.
We saw it, yeah.
And basically in this race, there's really, I think there were only 2 30-1 odds, and the rest of them were 15-1 to better.
Yeah.
And so it looks to be a good race. Now, my horses are Taj Mahal, Chip Hunch, The Hell We Did, and I did The Hell We Did because a neighbor of mine, his wife's father is the owner of the horse.
Yeah.
And
there
then
you go. I love it.
Ocelli, I think is the name you say it, or Ocelli, I believe. Yeah. So we'll see how all that breaks down and see what the friendly competition looks like. But it's another great race, and hopefully the TVs will and the broadcast will do it more justice than the Kentucky Derby.
What we saw in the Derby, where we didn't even get to see the crowning of the horse there at all. Yeah, exactly. The Hell We Did just sounds like something you would say.
Yeah.
So I mean that sounds like a horse rally right there. No, the Preakness this weekend. Preakness is I think it's about the same distance as the Derby. So again, you tend to see a lot of repeat winners for those that do stay in the field. Typically, it's the Belmont. It's that last one that always throws everybody off because it's a longer race.
It's a longer race, yes.
And so again, a lot of times you've had a lot of horses over the years that have won, the Derby and the Preakness, but they failed to win, the Belmont because of just the different style of race there. So it just shows you how hard it is to win.
And I think just to say, I might have it wrong, but I think Taj Mahal's won 3 times at the park, and so a little bit familiar with it, and obviously the trainer and the jockey and everything. So still another exciting race, and looking forward to filling that little time slot up on Saturday evening.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So again, we'll kind of be tailgating a little bit on Friday at Bradley's, and we'll kind of be leading up. So we'll have some more horse race talk as we have a little bit of a Preakness party going on there, as well as PGA Championship. A busy weekend, so a lot to talk about on Friday, and of course tomorrow as well. Again, we'll have our weekly Tomahawk Take with our Braves insider Will Cooper, and then we'll be joined by several special guests on Friday during the Bradley's Brunch and Lunch during our Friday happy hour edition of the show. We will go from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. that day, so a 3-hour show, the longest since we started this program a couple months back, and we're very excited about that.
From the buzzer beaters to the big hits. If it's making noise in the world of sports, we've got something to say about it. This is Now That's What I'm Talking About.
That's what I'm talking about.
your all-access pass to the hottest takes in the world of sports.
All right, so again, golf, a big theme right here, especially with my man Billy D. We were in here chopping it up yesterday, talking a little bit about the PGA Championship. But again, John, I know you've been kind of taking to it a little bit as well ever since we started with our Masters bet, and then we've talked about horse racing, but we're going to try to pick some golfers too maybe this week.
Well, I went so many years with Julia playing volleyball during the spring and the summer. I missed all the majors, and I'm one of those. Look, it's majors weekend. I'm going to watch, and my wife's like, "Well, hell, every weekend's a major to you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll give you that." But so the majors are, that's when unfortunately today, that's when the players come out and they concentrate more on the majors. They've got their 5 or 6, 7 tournaments. The one down at Sawgrass, the TPC, they've got that one, the Players Championship. And that's one of the things that I don't like how golf is headed today, because when I look at stats, I look at always the guys that have played the most tournaments.
Right.
I think there's like 56 or 57 tournaments throughout the year, because usually when you have a major, you've got a smaller one that people don't get to play. And now that you've got the signature events, you've got other tournaments that are being played on those weekends too, because they're not invited. So, but the PGA draws an elite crowd, and the one note that I've been seeing and complaining is that we're all having problems, I'm not, because I told you before I'm a live fan.
Right,
I love live golf.
Yeah.
But DeChambeau now has, I guess we're finding out now that the live is starting to break apart a little bit. And of course, the people over at the Golf Channel are just having a time with it. Brandy Chambly and all of those guys are making fun of him and stuff. But DeChambeau, Bryson's come out and he says, "Look, I'm going to help it make it work. We're going to try to figure the schedule out. We think it's something that we need." A lot of fans love it because it's worldwide. They've taken them worldwide, even more worldwide than the DP Tour in Europe and stuff. So he's going to stay. Look, the guy's got a lot of money. He's already won, I think, 3, maybe 4 majors.
Yep.
He's a showman. He's always going to be a showman. He plays for the fans, and I think that's one of the reasons why he probably has lost 2 or 3 majors, is because he gets caught up so much with the fans. I'm not going to say anything bad about that, because what? Arnie was that way. Jack was quiet, but he had Arnie's army, Arnold Palmer and stuff. And so you've got golfers out there, John Daly, you've got these golfers out there that play to the crowd, and that's why the fans love them so much, And there's a time to where I don't care what people said, they respected Tiger Woods and they loved watching his game, but they really didn't like him because it was almost Jack Nicklaus-esque, it's just like, I'm here to win, I'm here to do this, and which is fine, which is perfectly fine. But, these people are paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's just like football. These people are paying a lot of money to come see me play. How dare I walk out and just keep walking and not give autographs and stuff like that? So I think DeChambeau, I think, he's going to try to make it work. And if they can get the sponsors and they can get the money behind him, I think it can work. I don't know if it's going to be as big as it is now, but I think there's always room for another tour that's out there that's competitive, because we all know that the PGA hid so much money from the players for so many years that there are a lot of those players that are just like, to hell with the PGA. I don't want anything with them because this is what they've done to us, and now they're coming back trying to say, now they're playing music at the golf tournaments, they're doing interviews walking down the fair, and I'm like, look, you bowed to the at Live Golf because you saw that it was working, and for every person like Brandy Chambly to come out and say, the Live sucks and it's bad and it's horrendous and all the other words that you can use, they've hit a nerve, and the PGA knows that.
Usually, when you have a response like this, because somebody struck a nerve.
Somebody struck a nerve with it and stuff. But I'll tell you my picks right quick. Scheffler's had that one bad round, and unfortunately, it's been on Thursday, and then he's worked his way back up.
Right.
McIlroy, I've picked McIlroy to win because I just don't. I know somebody said the other day he got hurt, or he hurt his back or toe or something, had a blister and stuff. I don't know, but he's still playing phenomenal. DeChambeau, I think, has a chance because it is a shorter course. and they can bomb the ball.
Yeah.
And now it becomes how well are we going to play around the green?
Right.
You know, and so and then you got Brooks Koepka. I think he's got five majors more, and then the last ones are Morikawa and Fleetwood that I think is they've had it. They just play steady. But the guy that I like as a sleeper is Justin Rose because
it's a good pick.
He's won a huge tournament there before, and he's won a PGA tournament there before.
Right. Yeah.
So he's familiar with it, and he's really a straight ball hitter. He's very disciplined, and from what I've been reading, it's all about what are you going to do around the greens,
right.
and so this is when the nerves come out. What is it? You drive for show, putt for dough.
Yeah, there you go.
What it
yes,
comes,
absolutely.
That's what it comes out, and so we'll see. And I don't know if Big John Daly's playing or not. I don't know how the exemptions go when you win the PGA, but
things,
I would love to see John Daly because they said that he can still put it out
still
there.
Let it fly.
350 yards. Now they might not let him have his cigarettes and his beer cans out there, but there's your ultimate showman right there.
Yeah, the crazy pants and all right there. Again, text us on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line. Who's your favorite, man? Who you got in the PGA Championship this weekend? 866-888-0744. That's 0PIG, 0PIG, right here on the Sports Pig on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. Did you see the video, by the way? And they had somebody... They had like all these silhouettes of guys swinging golf clubs, and it was kind of like an animated version of it. And they showed it to Rory McIlroy. They said, "Okay, can you identify these guys' swings?" And they gave him like 12 different ones, and he nailed every single one of them just by looking at their silhouette. He could tell who it was. They even threw in a couple like LeBron James and Charles Barkley, swings, and he of course got those. But they show a guy you have to look the video, you have to look it up. It's just basically the silhouette of the golfer and just get the swing and the body and everything. I mean, he was nailing, just every one of them. He's like, oh, now that's Xander Schauffele easily. Even before he even was in his backswing, like he could just tell by the stance of everybody, and everything, who it was. And I'm like, man, that's just amazing.
The only ones I think that I would go 0 for 12 if that was taken to me, except for Charles Barkley. I could guess his.
That's ugly enough.
The ones that I think I could guess would be Brian Harmon, because he sits there and does about, 15 to 20 just little 6-inch, hitches and stuff. And then the other one was the old Sergio Garcia, where, he would just absolutely irritate the people because he would sit there, it's like the 95-year-old golfer thinking that they're going to, make a 300 yard. They don't want to hit into the group in front of them, and then they flub it, but
dribble it off the tee.
But Sergio would do that, and I think you could always tell what Arnie's was because of the way his finish was. I watched a little bit of it, but you get so frustrated because I'm literally 0 for 12.
I wouldn't be able to pick any of those. Maybe they need to put a pitch clock in golf to kind of speed the game up a little bit, for some of these guys. So, they did it for baseball. I mean, maybe why not for golf?
Well, and they should. And it goes. It's funny you said that because if you remember a few years ago with Jordan Spieth and Matt Kuchar at the Open, where Jordan Spieth, it was on 16 or 17, hit it it wasn't out of bounds because nothing's out of bounds over at the British Open,
right?
But he hit it, but he had something in front of him, something to the side of him, and something to the other side of him, and he kept walking back. And I think it took him about 30 minutes to figure out what his shot was going to be. And so I saw Matt Kuchar probably about a year or two later at a tech function at a football game. We were being introduced, and I said, do you have any comment? And he just looked at me and he said no, and just gave a big grin because you can't, there is a time limit, as you know. There is a time limit, but he kept going back and forth, and then he would ask a question and then back and forth and then ask him. You knew he was clearly stalling because Matt was in line to win the tournament, and he was clearly stalling. And but I think you're right. I think they need to come out with some type of a clock. They try to push it. The biggest thing that I saw, I guess it was a year or two ago, they gave the last group, told them that they were on the clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, okay, they're the last group. They're playing for the championship, and you're telling them they're on the clock.
They're on the clock.
What, did NBC call you down and say, hey, we got to hurry this up?
Yeah, we got Nick's Sixers coming up here.
And so it just absolutely amazes me at some of the decisions that are made.
Absolutely. Hey, we're up against our final break right here on the program. Thanks for being with us right here on this Winging It Wednesday edition of the Morning Rant, brought to you by your friends at the Pub in LJ. $1 wings all day long until midnight. Get there for lunch, get there for dinner. They'll be open whenever you arrive, and again, enjoy everything they got going on over there at the Pub. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some other things going on in the world of sports right here on the Morning Rant, on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia, and that is on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Whatever cooling solution makes the most sense, Green Heating and Cooling is ready to help. Whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new cooling system, Green will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort. With Green, you get more than just a technician. You get someone who's committed to meeting your needs and achieving a high level of training and skills. Someone backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. Nobody understands the ins and outs of home comfort like Green. So whatever your situation or budget, Green Heating and Cooling has a solution for you. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Morning Grind with Pork Rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It's the Morning Rant, weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on 98.1, 93.7, and 101.1 on the H2 dial. WPGY The Sports Pig.
Back here for our final segment of this Winging It Wednesday, presented by your friends at the Pub in LJ. $1 wings all day long. Dave Garner, the professor, alongside the refrigerator mover, Big John Davis, here on a Winging It Wednesday. A gorgeous day here in North Georgia. A little cool this morning still. So there's always still those little reminders in the air that we're not quite to summer yet. But man, it felt good out there this morning.
Man, I'm loving it. And then the evenings we're able to sit out in our oasis and watch some news and some of our Netflixing and stuff. So we're gonna enjoy it all because we know the other side's coming.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good time for golf. We were just talking about the PGA Championship, of course, coming up this weekend. A couple of golf tournaments to kind of let you know a little bit about. Again, the Reinhardt Scholarship Golf Tournament is May the 18th. So again, rapidly approaching next week at the Manor Golf and Country Club over in Milton. Again, the 38th annual Reinhardt University Scholarship Golf Tournament. And then right after that, coming up here in a few short weeks, it is the John Davis Golf Classic, June the 3rd out at Bent Tree. I know you're excited about that, partner, and a lot of other people are as well. And we'll, again, be broadcasting live out there that day.
Yeah, Gina Penley and her team have done such a phenomenal job with this tournament. I've told stories about when it first started out. It's always amazing to see how she puts it together. And, she's very busy with her team. They do the Mardi Gras in the mountains in February, which is a huge fundraiser for them as well as other charities. But Gina does such a great job. We have, we've had anywhere from 25 teams to 44 teams. We try to pride ourselves on not making it an 8-round golf, 8-hour golf trip, and we kind of like that smooth, soft spot of around 30 to 32 teams. That gives me a chance to get out and see some of my old friends that I haven't seen for a year, and thank the sponsors that come in. A couple of the sponsors, Evelyn Heiss Griffith Foundation. She's our main tournament sponsor, diamond sponsor, and she's been around for, I guess, a good 20 plus years helping us out. Mark and Cindy West at Appalachian Beverage, they're big sponsors as well. And there's others that I'll be able to recognize on the day that we have our show down at the golf tournament. But yeah, it's just a fun day. Not only you get the golf, off, you're going to get to see probably some bear. You're going to get to see some turkeys. You're going to get to see some
all
deer.
kinds of wildlife.
And Bent Tree does a great job of hosting it, and it's just a good central location because a lot of my teammates and friends from Atlanta like to come up, and then I get to see my buddies that I grew up with from LJ come down, and we're actually staying with some good friends of ours from Atlanta at Big Canoe. Going to get to visit with them, and so it'll be a short ride for us over to the show on Wednesday. So yeah, it's always a great day. It's a tournament that nobody cares to win. It's just they know that the money's going to a great cause, which is 100% towards the patients. And again, we'll talk about all that when Gina is around, that she can talk and tell you a little bit more. But no, it's going to be a great day. And one day, I know I'm going to jinx myself, but one day, my buddies in Buffalo, Jim and Mark, came down to play in it one year, and it was the only year it rained.
Oh, wow.
And but we got through 9 holes. So we did get through 9 holes, but hopefully we'll be able to get those guys back down here one of these days as well. But so it's going to be a great day, a fun day. And as far as, there are a lot of tournaments going around, Dave, and I know you probably see a lot more than I do. I think the Gilmer football team's having a tournament around the Labor or Father's Day weekend. But if you can see it in you, if you've got the advertising budget, get out and support these people, because that's how that's one way that's. I'm not saying it's easy money, but it's a day of fun, and it gives them a chance to raise some funds that otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt about it. Right there, again, a good time of year certainly for folks getting out on the links, and another local event too. By the way, again, the Jammin' for Joy Pickleball tournament coming up in August, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well with our friend Steve Lau. Again, the Joy House in Jasper, they do a great job. They're having their big pickleball tournament, which they have the capacity for around 600 this year, and they're expected to fill that. I think they've already approached 300 players or more, and we're still, right here, not even quite halfway through May yet. So again, if you're interested in looking to play some pickleball at a competitive level, Jammin' for Joy, again, pickleball tournament coming up in August right there. So a lot of great things happening, and that out towards Bent Tree and Big Canoe area as well. So a lot of events coming up here over the next couple of months. And shoot, man, by that time of year, I mean, we'll really be talking football at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I will say this: I support pickleball. You asked me the other day. I can't play it, nor will I ever try to play. But I would like to say to the people who were in our neighborhood last night that were playing at 11 o'clock last night, show a little bit of respect. We live right across the street from the tennis courts, and I was up doing some work for Hester and her company, but I was still like, bat.
Right, yeah,
and I was just like thinking, okay, this is it's driving me nuts. And so give it, hey, I don't care if you play till 9:30, but 11 o'clock's a little.
Yeah, come on, man, we got to knock it off at some point right here. Hey, Jasper Coca-Cola text line as always is 866-888-0744. We got a few minutes left right here on the program. Speaking of football, again, there are some new, tidbits that we talked a little bit about earlier in the week on Monday when you and I were here. One of those things was the expanded field. We've already talked about the expanded field of March Madness, but it does look like the college football playoff is expected to expand to 24, and that happened quick.
Yeah, no, it did. I think it's going to be sooner than later. It would not surprise me if it's this year. We spoke earlier. They wanted to move the Army-Navy game to Thanksgiving Day. Thank God the Academy said no, but now they're going to move it, I believe, to the first Saturday because they want the playoffs to start the second weekend, which is fine. I mean, it's here, so we're not. You can't bitch and complain anymore. It's here, and it's going to happen. We know why, but it goes to what you're saying. The bye teams have not fared well over the last few years. But I'm reading now a little tidbit, and we'll probably get into it Friday. There's a little spat going on with LSU and Ole Miss right now.
Go figure.
Well, even Texas Sarkisian got into the mix of it, and Sumrall at Florida. now they're all piling on Ole Miss for you can go to Ole Miss if you want to, because they've got a basket weaving course for them, to graduate with and stuff. And so they're and they haven't even gotten to the coaches meetings yet, in South Carolina. So so they're trying to ignite some fire under the players' bellies and stuff. So it's a jab here, it's a jab there. The players are saying my parents and grandparents don't want me to go to Ole Miss. It's 62% white, 30% black, and they feel like it's just not it's not something that they want to subject their kids to, which to me I think is completely bogus.
Right.
And then LSU's the other way around. So you can always find something.
Yeah.
You can always find
especially
something.
when Lane Kiffin is involved in any way, shape, or form.
And it can be about as fake as it can be, because there's different ways that you motivate your teams, and they have to feel like that they get that edge. So like I said, before you know it, football is going to be here. The spring meetings are going to be here, and we're going to be able to start talking a little bit more about it. So it's I'm looking at the schedule right now. August 22nd. August 29th, the first games. They got a huge slate of, I guess, what they call now 0 weeks. So so it's going to be interesting to see. Well, no, I'm sorry. It looks like they might be starting August 22nd.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds a little bit closer to what they've been doing.
So teams are getting ready to start summer school, summer workouts, and before you know it, it's going to be here, and the whole slate.
High school football spring practice also wrapping up as well. Again, the final week of school for a lot of area schools is next week, I guess. I know that my stepdaughter's graduating this year. I think today is really her last day. I mean, she got exempt from her finals. Good for her. It takes a lot of stress off. I was never in a position where I was ever able to exempt any final in my entire academic career. So I had to stress all the way down to the last day of school, man.
Yeah, you promised we wouldn't talk about that, so we'll just skip on over.
I tell you that the best time I ever had is, speaking of memory lane, knowing there was a final day of school, knowing I had passed all my classes, I went back and because I was sweating a few. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't a great student in high school, but I was able to pass all my classes. My buddy Billy D, actually, of all people here, my Tuesday co-host, they had passes to Whitewater. Every summer we'd go to Whitewater, and just knowing that I passed all my classes and then enjoying that day at Whitewater, I still will never forget that. Now, that was not my senior year, but still, nonetheless. But, hey, we're out of time right here on the show, man. Man, time flies when you're having fun. Big John, thanks for being with us right here in studio, partner.
Glad to be here. Looking forward to Friday at Bradley's.
There you go. Bradley's Brunch and Lunch on Friday. Tomorrow we'll have our Tailgate Thursday edition of the show. We'll have our Tomahawk Take, our Prep Rally High School Roundup, and the Cooper Predictor. All that and more coming up tomorrow with my man, the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, and then back with Big John on Friday on location for our Friday Happy Hour show at Bradley's Bar and Grill off of Lower Roswell Road in East Cobb. Thanks for joining us right here on the program. Again, the Morning Rant is what you've been listening to. Chuck Oliver with Southern Sports Today is up next. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care, everyone.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered, Atlanta, game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.